Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Retro Pro Wrestling Show. My name is Chris, and yes, I am the kind of guy who wears a hat inside the house. I'm also the kind of guy who brings you the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from the glory days of the World Wrestling Federation. Last time around I promised you that we were going to do like a year review of the year 1993, but we're not. You know why? Because it's Wrestlemania, and I don't know about you, but I think that demands something just a little bit more special. I mean, sure, we could go back to WrestleMania 9 and we could spend the next 20 minutes talking about Giant Gonzalez and Hulk Hogan stealing the title, or, we could do something a little bit more fun. You can think what you want. I think the second idea sounds a little bit better. So let's do that. Today, instead of going back to 1993, what we're going to do is the top 10 hidden gems from the first 10 WrestleManias. Why the first 10? Well, because as you'll see, if you go to allprowrestlingreviews.blogspot.co.uk, I've only so far covered up to WrestleMania 11 in my sort of epic pursuit to cover every WWE pay-per-view ever. And to be honest, calling this video the top 10 hidden gems from the first 11 WrestleManias doesn't quite have the same ring to it. So let's stick with 10, shall we? What exactly do we mean by hidden gems? I'll be honest, folks, when I first started to think about putting this video together, I was just going to do the top 10 matches from the first 10 WrestleManias and be done with it. Problem was, the more I looked into that, it just seemed a little bit too easy. I mean, almost half of those matches would have included Randy Savage. You had Savage vs Flair, Savage vs Hogan, Savage vs Warrior, Savage vs Steamboat. Add the obligatory Brett and Owen, a couple more Hogan and Hogan and Warrior bouts, and you've pretty much got your top 10 there. But I thought it might be more fun to look at the hidden gems, the matches that may have been so good when they took place at the time, but throughout the years seem to have been forgotten about because, the main events were more memorable, the ladder matches were more memorable, that kind of thing. So, that's what we're going to look at today, the matches that were good, but that aren't necessarily the first ones you think of when it comes to WrestleMania. Ready? Let's get started. You know what's awesome? Drinking tea from a Pantera mug. You know what isn't awesome? WrestleMania 1. I mean, sure, it may have been the one event that kick-started this thing we've been, looking forward to every year for the past 30 years. It may have been the one that started them all. But despite all the hype and all the spectacle, WrestleMania 1 just sucked from an in-ring standpoint. I mean, it just really was not good at all. But still, for reasons I can't explain, I just wouldn't feel right if I didn't include at least one WrestleMania 1 match on this video. And so Ricky Steamboat kicks off our video with the man who would eventually become known as Doink the Clown. I mean, this was a good match in its own right, but compared to all the dross that went on before and after, leading up to the main event, this is the best thing on the card. Okay, the main event was better, but we're talking hidden gems here, and of course everybody knows the WrestleMania 1 main event, so this gets the nod. I also have to point out Ricky Steamboat's awesome pre-match promo. There was an awful lot of awkward turns of phrase at WrestleMania 1. Lord Alfred Hayes actually delivered most of them, but Ricky Steamboat delivered one of my favourites when he sort of referred to this as the extravaganza across the nation. Still, what he lacked in awesome marketing skills, mic skills, he made up for in the ring, and this is a great match worth tracking down on the WWE network or wherever you can get your hands on it. Enjoy. If you thought WrestleMania 1 was a bad card, I mean, it looked like I don't know, in your house Canadian Stampede compared to WrestleMania 2. I mean, this was a long, boring ass show. But that's not to say that it didn't have its good moments. And in fact, its two best moments were both tag team matches. We're going to start today with the match that actually headlined the Illinois portion of the card, which was Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid teaming up to take on the dream team of Greg Valentine and a pre-Barber Brutus Beefcake. This was such an awesome match. I don't know how it hasn't got more acclaim. I don't know why more people don't still talk about it to this day. I love this match. I really do. And of course, like I said, it was one of the best things on WrestleMania 2. So there you go. Didn't I tell you that WrestleMania 2 had some good moments and that both of them were tag team matches? Along with the Bulldogs and the Dream Team that we've already talked about, the second hidden gem of WrestleMania 2 sees Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog teaming up in a awesome little brawl against Terry and Dory Funk, who at this stage in his career was known as Hoss Funk. Don't ask me why, I wasn't there. Anyway, I'll be honest with you, something else I don't know is why Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog were even teaming up. I'm assuming there was some kind of backstory, something had happened to build up to this. I don't know, I can't remember, or perhaps I never knew. Whatever the reasons they had when they got in the ring with the Funks, it was just fun as hell. This was wild, it was chaotic, it was just an awesome brawl. The ending came when Terry picked up the megaphone of his manager Jimmy Hart. He smashed Junkyard Dog over the head with it, got the free count. Bob's your uncle, good night Vienna, you name it. Excuse me, it was over, but it was so much fun. Check it out. WrestleManias 3 and 4 both had good matches on them, but I'll be honest, I don't really consider them hidden gems. So instead, we're going to roll all the way on to WrestleMania 5 and to what is essentially Kurt Hennig versus Owen Hart. Was it as good as you might think? Yes. Was it as good as some fans make out? No. I mean, I've seen some fans heap tons of praise on this one. I think based mostly on who was involved. Now I'm saying it was a fun, a fast, a furious little contest. It was a joy to watch. Was it 5-star gold? Not at all, but it's still a hidden gem of WrestleMania 5. And if they ever manage to come up with, I don't know, the definitive Owen Hart box set collection, I really hope this match against Mr. Perfect is on there. If you're anything like me, you're probably watching this video and thinking, God damn, this guy moves with his hands a lot when he talks. I'll be honest, I never noticed I did that until I started watching this video. You're probably also wondering, when is Shawn Michaels going to show up? Surely he's going to be on here somewhere. Yep, you're right, here he is, along with Marty Jannetty, in a awesome opening match against Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond in a mask. I'll be honest, I've seen every Rockers pay-per-view match they were ever a part of. They never had a bad match on pay-per-view, and this is no different. It was just fun from bell to bell, and of course it was massively overshadowed by everything else on the card, or at least most of it. So it gets on the list as another hidden gem. Sticking with WrestleMania 6 for a moment, Ted DiBiase and Jake the Snake Roberts have been waging war with each other for months in the build-up to WrestleMania, and when they finally met in the ring, yes, it was every good as you can imagine it might be between these two veterans. It was a captivating, compelling, psychological war that just, I could still watch this match even today and still love it. Yet, you know, when you sort of think about WrestleMania 6, even this one doesn't get the credit it deserves, which puts it on our list. I was tempted to give the nod here to Ted DiBiase and Virgil, but then is that really a hidden gem? I mean, it was the culmination of a long storyline between those two, and you know, it was the blow off. I think a lot of people remember it, so I'm not putting it on the list. The Heart Foundation versus the Nasty Boys, that was better than you probably think it would be. That could potentially be on here. But I'm going to give the nod to the Rockers versus Haku and Barbarian, because, I mean, let's face it, did you ever expect to see a match with the Barbarian involved featured on a top 10 list of anything? I mean, to be fair, yeah, we could give a lot of credit to Sean and Marty. They were as on fire here as they ever were. But that's not to discredit Haku and the Barbarian. With Bobby Heenan at ringside, they both worked their asses off inside. Of course, Heenan was entertaining as hell on the outside. This is my WrestleMania hidden gem. WrestleMania 7 hidden gem. Let's put it on the list. Let's roll on. I did earlier, I've skipped over a WrestleMania. We've missed WrestleMania 8. Just because the really good matches on that card everybody knows about, everybody talks about. So we've rolled on to WrestleMania 9, a card that surely goes down as one of the worst in history. I mean, all the memorable stuff from this was pretty awful. It was the Hulk Hogan taking the title in, 9 seconds. It was Double Doink against Crush. It was, of course, Giant Gonzalez versus Undertaker. Those are the things we think about when we think about WrestleMania 9. So when it comes to good matches from that card, you've only got 2 to choose from, which did make me wonder if I should leave this one off. But no, let's go with it. This is Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty opening match, Intercontinental title. It was awesome. I mean, sure, the main story going into this match was the sort of upcoming rivalry between Sensational Sherry and a recently debuted, Luna Vachon. But whilst they were doing whatever they were doing outside the ring, Shawn and Tatanka really gave us an awesome little match inside there. It's not one, it's not the sort of thing that first comes to mind when you think awesome WrestleMania matches, but I really enjoyed this one. Plus, this was the first WrestleMania I ever watched when I first started becoming a wrestling fan. It was around the time, WrestleMania 9 was the one I watched, so special place in my heart. I've rambled on too much, and let's move on to another one. Oh my god. We've come to number 10 already. I don't quite know how that happened, but here we are. Let's go with it. It's the Head Shrinkers, it's the Steiner Brothers, it's hard hitting, it's fast paced, it's a brawl, it's a damn good match. Now, I know some people may think about Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka when they think about WrestleMania 9, but I don't really think too many people give this match a second thought, which is a shame, man, because it was really good. There's this one spot where one of the Steiners and one of the Head Shrinkers, to be honest, I forget which, I need the match in front of me, but anyway, they're brawling round the ropes, they clothesline each other to the outside, they nearly damn decapitate each other. It was brutal. It just made for, one of the best matches on the card, and our last hidden gem for today. And that's your lot, folks. Thank you for watching. If I'd have thought about it, we would have called this video the top 10 hidden gems from the first 9 WrestleManias, but 10 from 9 not quite as catchy, and in my defense, I did think we would fit 10 WrestleManias into 10 spots. I am sorry for lying to you. Please don't hate me. If you do hate me, if you think that I missed a match that should have been included here, if this was the worst video you've ever seen on YouTube, you know where the comments are, and I promise you I can take it. Do your worst. Likewise, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more, if you've got ideas for things I could cover in future videos, let me know. I would love your feedback. I genuinely would. Until then, thank you so much for watching. It makes all the effort worthwhile in putting these things together. I will see you next time for episode 3 of the Retro Pro Wrestling Show. Goodbye.